Good morning, everyone. And today I'm going to be talking a very special topic, which is not, you know, based on one sutta, but perhaps it's the gateway to all the Dhamma practice. As you know, it's Saddha. So I would put my topic today this way. Well, you got to be very careful because Saddha has been translated by many, confidence, trust, and I think the majority has translated this to be faith, wherein which a lot of people get confused with other philosophies, other religions. Okay, the topic today uh, I'm gonna talk about is Saddha within brackets trust goes hand in hand with an open attitude of willing to learn and try out, familiarizing oneself with the teachings of the Buddha. So that says that Saddha does not go alone. I mean, it's not a standalone practice. It always goes hand in hand. Okay, so what is Saddha? What is the importance of Saddha in the larger, broader teachings of the Buddhist, Dharma? Buddha says, when you first approach Dhamma, you need to consider to place your heart upon the Buddha. Because if you don't have a belief, I wouldn't call it a belief, if you don't have a respect towards the Buddhist, towards the Buddha in the first place, and you will never go to the Dhamma, and you will never ever go to Sangha, who maintain his teachings. Now, if you go to other aspects of your life, when you remember your first teacher for anything, when you remember someone who really helped you, showing the real path, and you have a respect towards that person, so that respect helps you to keep, your attention, your focus in the long run. That's why when you want to learn Dhamma, your first point of interest is going to be the Buddha. Now, one may ask, the Buddha is not longer with us. It's true. But we can visualize him. At the same time, we know what he taught us. Because we can see in the text, Pali text. Perhaps if you are a Mahayana, then you can read the Sanskrit Mahayana text. If you are a Vajrayana, you can read Vajrayana text. Anyways, but you can see what he taught, and then based on what he taught, you can visualize who this person is like and what his nature is like. So I want to tell you at the beginning of this talk, the main significance, the most interesting thing about Saddha is that, or in the Dhamma practice, is that we need respect to the person who taught Dhamma. That's why Saddha is very important. So that's why Buddha says Saddha is a gateway to the whole Dhamma practice. But keep in mind, if you get stuck at the gateway, you won't make the move. You want to make a move, but you're going to start with Saddha. A lot of people fall prey just to Saddha. They're going to keep doing Saddha-based stuff, and they won't make the move, and they get stuck. It's just a devotional practice. Because you're going to start, everybody starts with devotion, respect. But at the same time, they're going to maintain consistently this Saddha with Panya, the practice towards the Nibbana. Okay? So that's very interesting. Don't just get stagnated, or don't get stopped at Saddha. Just keep your journey going forward. But Saddha is the first place we all have to start. But don't think that if you just make the move after Saddha, you don't need Saddha. You need a respect all the time, you know. That's why when we do the sutta discussion any days, we respect the Buddha at the beginning, we respect the Buddha at the end of the talk, because we are learning his teaching, right? So that's very important. Now, the other thing is, now let's take a look at what Buddha told us. Did Buddha say to us that we all need to believe what he said without any investigation? No, that's not true. I remember we did a sutta discussion in 2018 about Vimansaka Sutta in the Majjhima Nikaya, one of the longest suttas in Majjhima Nikaya. Buddha himself says, the bunch of monks, I guess, you should not accept me without an investigation. Now the problem is that, are we really eligible to make this investigation by us, by ourselves? It might be not easy, but still Buddha says, do not just accept that I am the Tathagata, I am the Buddha. Just do a personal verification about who am I and then what I have taught you. Not like you just go and, I'm going to accept what you all said. No. You just need to do a personal verification about what Buddha said. Does it really matter to me? Does it really relate to my life? Does it really relate to the questions that I've been going through in my life, dealing with in my life? So in the Vimansaka Sutta, Buddha says we all need to do a personal verification about the Buddha and the Dhamma and the Sangha. I think that may be the start of the real Saddha, real trust. Because the more you understand Buddha by your personal experiences and your personal understanding, that will give you a good start, a beginning to understand, to learn more about the Buddhist teachings. Okay, so keep in mind, do your own investigation, but don't get confused, don't get stuck in your personal experiences. But sometimes you need to question back, is it really moral? Is it really right? Is it really logical? Is it really... Don't just get confused at one aspect. Sometimes if you are only a rational person, you might be rationalizing everything, all the time. But you might perhaps not been able to, come to a conclusion, right? So logic is good, but logic cannot be the truth, Buddha says. That's why Buddha says his Dhamma is atakha vachara, illogical. I can't say illogical, I would say it's not easy to understand. His Dhamma is not easy to understand from the logic, right? Because logic is based on the language. Language is mostly an unreal thing, right? Because we use words and words are not real, right? But we try to make a justice with the language. But when it comes to reality, language can be a problem. Any language, even Pali. So anyways, now you know why Saddha is the gateway to all the Dhamma practice, because we need to have a respect. Okay. And then what about the devotional practices many people do when they come to temple? Yes, it's good, because sometimes you can go to Nibbana right away. It takes time. It's not an overnight thing, right? It takes time. The first thing is you need to feel happy. When you come to the temple, when you have a Buddha statue at home, when you see the Buddha, you feel happy. Then you're going to offer flowers, you're going to put other medicinal drinks, you're going to offer food. The more you see the Buddha with the Buddha statue, you feel happy. So that's something we really need in our secular life. So I don't think devotional practice is a problem. But you have to go further by losing the devotional aspects, because we need the devotion. It's like mind alone won't make any sense. We want heart. Mind, heart, they both work together. But unfortunately, people, they more focus on the heart at some point. They ignore the mind part. Sometimes they only talk about the heart. Sometimes only use the mind. So these both have to go hand in hand. At the same time, you need to find out which aspect has to work in this situation. Okay. Now I feel I'm very emotional. I want to know whether this is really, reasonable for me to be like this. So I'm using my mind with my wisdom. At some point, I might be merely rationalizing anything just because I feel I need to rationalize. But if I go to my heart, no, it doesn't make sense, and I don't think it works. So you gotta look at which aspect, mind or heart, would better work in the situation, circumstance. Okay, so that's another thing. So we need to consistently practice our devotional thing, because devotional practice is different from one to one. One might be very devotional, someone else might be devotional to a mild level, moderate level. So someone might be very devotional, highly devotional. So it depends. It doesn't matter. But what matters to is to make the move forward with your devotion. Okay, that's very interesting. And when you go into the teachings of the Buddha, we see two types of saddha, which was said by the Buddha. Amolika saddha and akaravati saddha. What is amolika saddha? What is akaravati saddha? Amolika saddha means groundless saddha. So if you think if you are inclining towards someone or something without a reason, without a proper understanding, you are just attracted, you are just inclined towards that, it could be a groundless saddha. Sometimes this can happen because our emotion side is very hyper, is pretty up. So that's why Buddha says that could be a problem. Sometimes we make bad friends, we make bad partners, we make unnecessary poor choices. I think those choices, those things happen when we don't know that this trust is a fake one, is a fake saddha. And Buddha emphasizes the other one, akaravati saddha. That means grounded saddha, like a verified saddha. So you verify, you make a verification. Oh, this is going to be meaningful. This is going to be healthy. This is going to be benefiting to my and other people. This is benefiting all of us. So you personally verifying everything, and that makes sense. Then that gives you not just the benefit. That gives you blessings and your whole life. So in that way, akaravati saddha is the main thing. Number two, I would like to, because I already taken one sutta called Vimansaka Sutta, I also want to talk to you about two more suttas regarding saddha. The second sutta I'm going to take is Chanki Sutta. Chanki Sutta is in the Anguttara Nikaya. In the Chanki Sutta, Buddha says we all need to do a proper investigation in terms of understanding a personal teacher. Now, this is very interesting. Even though you can see the books in Pali, in text, even you see monks, you got to be very careful in learning Dhamma. Sometimes you might be misled. I'm not, judging all the monks. Most of them are not good. But I'm just telling you, it's just Dhamma. It's your life. So you got to be very careful. When you take an advice for the life, you got to be taking it from a person who makes sense, and the teaching that person is actually trying to tell you makes sense and really beneficial to you overall. So in the Chanki Sutta, Buddha says, make the proper investigation when you are, sort of like getting along with a certain teacher, spiritual teacher, whether the teacher is really, really benefiting your life, or trying only to, emphasize only one aspect of the problem. So you got to be looking at all these aspects. So the best one, who has the most out of all these aspects, could be a good teacher, good spiritual teacher. So that's for saddha, right? And the most interesting sutta about saddha is Kalama Sutta, and everybody knows this sutta, but I don't know, whether many know what Kalama Sutta says at the end. And Buddha says, don't just believe anything by traditions. Don't just believe anything by books. Don't just believe anything by famous teachers. Don't just believe anything Actually, I was missing one thing. Don't just believe anything merely by tradition. Don't just believe anything merely by the books. Don't just anything by merely by famous people. Don't just believe anything merely by so and so forth. Now, a lot of people, they misunderstand. How they misunderstand is that, okay, the Buddha said, don't just believe traditions, don't just believe books, don't just believe Tripitaka, don't just believe Pada teachings, don't just believe famous teachers. It's not like that. What Buddha said is that at the end of the sutta we understand it. When you're trying to understand the truth of anything, the reality of anything, don't just believe your, what would be the right wording for this? Epistemology. It's a philosophical word. That means science of knowledge. So when you want to learn the truth, the reality of anything, don't just confine your means of knowledge to one thing, just for the books, just for the tradition, just for a famous person, just for a Tripitaka, just for Pali. Use all these means and then try to figure out what they all have to say and then verify all this knowledge. That would be the best thing, right? That's what Buddha says at the end of the sutta. Yada kalama attana vajaniyat ime dhamma kusala ime dhamma kusala. So use all these means of knowledge. Could be a teacher, could be a tradition, could be, we can learn many things from each of these. But sometimes, in order to understand the truth of something like that, we need to use all these, maybe for most of all these means. That's how we understand it. So when you need to understand Saddha, don't just underscore Saddha just by saying the Kalama Sutta aspects by misunderstanding them. Try to understand why Saddha is important and why Buddha said Kalama Sutta this way, because Kalama Sutta says that there are a lot of means of knowledge. Try to use all these means. Consider all these means in understanding any situation, any issue, any problem in your life. Okay, finally, I want to say this, the topic that I've been talking today. Saddha goes hand in hand with an open attitude of willing to learn. Okay, so Saddha becomes very fruitful when you have an open attitude of willing to learn. So a person who is really into Saddha, trust, always have an open mind, an open attitude to learn, be that from Christianity, be that from any other religion, be that from anything in the world, maybe from an atheist perspective, maybe from an agnostic, from whoever the person, whoever the belief is. But this person, the real person who has Saddha, wants to learn. So she has kept the learning part open from anybody, because we might learn something from any person. The truth has not only been confined to one religion, one perspective. And familiarizing oneself with the teachings of the Buddha. So you've been learning the Buddhist teaching. At the same time, you are having an open attitude of willing to learn. I think a lot of people, they don't have it. When they come to Buddhist teachings, okay, I'm not going to talk about other religions, and we don't like them, they don't talk about Nibbana. No, it's not like that. Nibbana is very unique, I know, and we all know. But to get to that Nirvana, we need to understand our life. We need to have a personal verification about everything. If we don't have the personal verification, I don't think then what we know is very provisional, and it's a provisional truth. It's not a full, complete truth. So this is what I want to share with you about Saddha. But someone may also ask, how can I develop my Saddha? Okay, that's a good question too. Okay, so the first thing is, you need to have an open mind to learn from anybody. Now, in this case, you might learn from any teacher, Buddhist teacher, any non-Buddhist teacher too, about life. And the second thing is, you should not fall prey only to Saddha. You need to keep keep your journey going towards prajna as well, wisdom as well, or the other teachings as well. That means Buddhist teachings. So Saddha is the gateway type of teaching, but you need to learn other teachings of the Buddha. So you need to keep Saddha all the time. At the same time, don't just forget that you need to learn other teachings too. So keep your interest consistent towards Saddha and other teachings too. At the same time, always try to verify what you know, whether what I learned from the Buddhist teachings, from a monk, from a book, or from a Tripitaka, from wherever, is really relevant to myself. Do I really see that in myself? Or what I see in my life is really seen in the Dhamma. So you just need to do this analysis, synthesis all the time. Then you personally understand, oh, this is what Buddha told to the monk, to the people. So do the verification techniques too all the time. So then you will understand Saddha is such an important thing. One last thing. Saddha not only is used in the context of believing, trusting the Buddha or respect, but also used in other secular perspectives too. Now if you go to some secular teachings, like we know Buddha once said for the spouses, or for for the people in their lay life or other people, how you can develop your this life and the next life. For this life you need 4 important aspects to work on: Saddha, Sila, Chaka, Panya. So Saddha in that perspective means you need to have a life with trust. If you are with cheaters, if you are with people who always lie to you, your life is not comfortable, very uneasy. If you are a spouse, if you are a partner, you need trust. I think you need trust more than anything, right? You need to feel that you believe and your other partner is believing you and they don't do anything wrong that you don't expect. So that means it is also used, Saddha, the term Saddha also used in Pali to talk about the trust between any person. On one side is respect, on the other side it's secular trust. I hope you learned something today. Thank you for learning and have a very good day. Thank you.